Hey everybody, welcome to a bonus episode of Sanity at the Movies. You are now listening to Sanity at the Movies. I'm Nathan, that's Jake. We're going to give you some hot takes. Me and Jake have both been to the theater recently, not together, but separately. Jake, you took your own...
When people, like 20 years down the road, are like, man, we want to hear what Jake and Nathan had to say about...
Oh yeah, space people who are listening to this. Robot, what's the thing called where we become one with robots? The synchro...
I had it until you said the synchro.
Yes, sorry, and it's not the synchronicity. The
singularity.
The singularity, yeah. The singular individuals right now are having this podcast beamed into their brain devices.
Yeah, they're going to have to listen to some Frozen 2 and Knives Out hot takes.
They have the privilege of listening to Frozen 2 and Knives Out, movies that continue to be watched thousands of years into the future.
Obviously.
And beloved classics, not at all of their time, but transcendent works of art. So, Jake, you're going to give a Frozen 2 hot take. I'm going to give a Knives Out hot take. And people need our hot takes of these movies that have already had their big Thanksgiving weekend as of this recording.
Yeah.
And as
it's a little cold take for me.
Yeah, well, a cold take for Frozen 2.
It's pretty Frozen take.
Yep. Let it go, Jake. Let it go. All right, Jake. So you took your own budding Anna and Elsa, your two daughters, to see Frozen 2.
I did, yeah.
Jake's a bad parent. He supports the Disney Corporation. Jake's not a Christian. Is that what we've learned?
Basically true, yeah. I think that's what you've learned. What I realized is that going into the holiday season, I was going to have a bunch of grandparents who would think it would be super cool to take the daughters to go see Frozen 2
Sure.
and turn it into this great big event. And so I just thought, might as well just cut the legs out from under that and beat them to it.
If there's some kind of insidious lesbian whatever, then might as well see it with them and
be able to talk to them about it and not turn it into a great big grandma and grandpa event.
Yep. And if you decide to be down on this movie, not only are you down on the movie, you're also accidentally down on grandpa and grandma.
Yeah,
turns it a whole thing.
All kinds of things. Yeah, I just thought I'll just preempt the whole thing.
Strategy in parenting. So you saw...
It might have been a bad strategy. I mean, it's possible I could have just called all the grandparents and said, you're not even suggesting that you're going to take the kids to see Frozen 2, but this seemed like a...
Well, what you did seems good. Obviously, the other way is the good Christian way. But I like yours too.
Sort of the good Christian way. That there's my way.
Right. There's the mediocre pagan way that you did it. No, I mean, I don't know. One of the things I always say about my dad is we saw movies together, and it's not that he just let me watch everything, but we saw things together and we talked them through, and it was really helpful just to watch a Disney movie and then say, now, really, is it good that Ariel doesn't want to obey her dad? Is that how life works? You just get whatever you want when you rebel again? Having those conversations in my early, preteen years were really helpful and are part of probably what gave me the tools to do a podcast like this. So I definitely think there's my personal opinion. I think there's a place for doing exactly what you did.
Yep.
So in any case, you took the girls to see Frozen 2.
Took the girls to see Frozen 2. Yeah. So just a quick spoilery synopsis. Man, I would have been able to really knock this out of the park earlier. But, it's been a week and a half or whatever since I've seen it, so I'll do my best. Basically, the story is Elsa has to become Captain Planet in order to save the world from the consequences of the old dead white men of the past.
So it's like every Marvel movie.
Kind of, yeah, except a little more climate changey.
But that concept of our parents or our ancestors were more complicated than we thought that they were and actually made some big mistakes, which we are now paying for.
Yeah. This movie tries to dive a little bit deeper into the mythos, the lore of Elsa and who Elsa is. So when I say Elsa has to become Captain Planet, what I mean is there are 4 elemental spirits: earth, water, wind, and fire.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Is Elsa heart?
Yes. And by her powers, her unique powers as the 5th elemental spirit, she's able to harness all of the other spirits and
because she loves, or because somebody loved her, because
it's a little bit more self-actualization-y than that. It's not that she's actually heart. They don't quite do it that way. But Elsa's still very much on her journey of self-actualization. And so she's self-actualizing and she's not letting it go this time. She is showing us who she is. She's showing herself. But we don't know that she's becoming this mythical fifth spirit. We think she's on a quest to find it, but then she finds herself.
Ah, the old Star Trek thing. We have searched for the gods and the gods are us. That's like every bad sci-fi story ever. And a heck of a lot of bad fantasy stories and good ones.
Yeah, so that's her arc throughout the whole thing. And then there's Anna's arc. And Anna's arc is Anna's got to let it go.
Like let her sister self-actualize?
Yeah, she's got to let her sister... We ended the last movie. Anna's story is, I want so badly to have my relationship with my sister, that childhood happiness back.
Right.
And then she gets it at the end of the movie, and that's more important than Kristoff and getting married and living happily ever after, because who cares about that?
No.
Right. So at the start of this movie, Kristoff is clumsily trying to work up the courage to propose to Anna and start a new life, and he keeps bungling it and screwing it up like the screw up that he is. Like all men. All men are stupid.
Pretty stupid.
But he's, his heart's in the right place. But Anna can't even hear or understand what's going on because she's so fixated on keeping everything happy with Elsa, who's a restless soul who needs to take that next step and isn't made for this world and isn't satisfied and content just being the queen of whatever the name of the place is. I forget. And so...
Zootopia.
Yes, Zootopia. I think that's right. And so Anna's got to learn to let Elsa go and do the next best thing or the next right thing. Rather, that's the moral of the movie, is the next right thing. Do the next... When you don't know what to do, when the future is not clear, when there's no, you have to do the next right thing.
That's not such a bad moral.
It's a pretty great moral, actually, and I love it. Best part of the movie is, hey, things are screwed up and we have no idea what to do. You just got to figure out what's the next right thing. You can't see all the consequences, but you can know what the next right thing to do is. And so Anna's got to figure out what the next right thing to do is. So Elsa gets herself in trouble and she's going to die and the whole world's going to die. And then Anna's got to do the next right thing. So Anna's got to go save the day to save Elsa so that Elsa can save the world. And she gets in trouble and Kristoff has to save Anna so that Anna can save Elsa so that Elsa can save the world. And so we have this big circular, everybody saves each other and we all live happily ever after. And Kristoff finally proposes, but we don't get married because this isn't about getting married and living happily ever after, because who needs that? But they've proposed, and Olaf and Elsa have to fake die, but then of course they're going to come back. So there's literally no consequences for absolutely anything. There's no big villain except for the scary white grandfather of the past. Elsa and Anna restore the magic to the world. Elsa self-actualizes and Anna gets engaged and becomes the queen because Elsa has to live off in an ice palace doing Captain Planet things.
Well, we have a strict no telling people what to do with their kids policy because we think every parent needs to make their own decisions about that. Right. But are you happy that you took your daughters to see this Frozen 2? It
was fine. It was enjoyable. The songs aren't as catchy. They did a nice little... the humor was smart. It was insanely beautifully animated. One of the prettiest movies of anything Disney Pixar has done. Just a lot of beautiful things going. That's probably I'll probably come back on that, but man, it sure felt in theaters really beautiful. Songs weren't. There's no really big Let It Go. Nothing on that level. They made fun of Let It Go, which I thought was fun and sweet in its way. Not a lot of plot. The songs were almost always on the edge of getting in the way.
Well, I think the Let It Go songs, to me, Let It Go is a good pop song, but the Frozen 1 songs, I should say, they're not that great. Everybody
Love
just
is an open door will get stuck in your head if you let it.
Yeah. I just felt like people were so happy to get a musical theater scrap thrown to them after kind of starving that they overpraised that thing, whereas, it's fine, but
the show yourself or whatever and the next right thing, I guess, are the two big number. Kristoff has his own number, but that's sort of like, do we really care enough about Kristoff? We've been told we don't really care about Kristoff at every point.
Mm-hmm.
Did Kristoff really need his own number with his moose friend? Like, did Olaf need another number for Olaf? Like, and they each have enough cute, fun, funny things about them that sort of carries, it gets you, but it's just sort of like, man, it's always on the edge of being a slog. It's really because there's no compelling plot mechanics and no compelling big bad.
Well, compelling plot mechanics have consequences.
Exactly, and that's it. There's no real drama. You still cry.
Right.
Or whatever, but it's because we're playing with previous consequences. So we play a lot with mom and dad being dead and getting images and memories of mom and dad are dead, and also mom and dad are, and then we have Elsa and Olaf both fake die, and so we get some emotion out of that.
Well, the Disney Corporation they have experts that spend their lives perfecting the art of extracting tears from your
That's right.
tear ducts. They can do it whether the movie deserves to have it done or not.
Yeah, and on the whole, it doesn't. At the end of the day, there are no consequences. No one suffers anything. Literally no one. Not a single person. Everybody is a good guy. It turns out like one of the early twists is that Elsa and Anna are descended. Their mom is one of these magical native tree people. So they've got like the white Western civilization, Disney princess kind of world they're from. And then they've got these like native magical tree people type people. And Elsa and Anna's mom is secretly one of those people. And those people have been at war, but they've also been trapped in an enchanted forest, but also they're all on the same side after all, and there was only one evil guy who's already long dead.
Right.
There's just like, there's nothing. There's no dramatic tension really, except, oh no, Elsa and Olaf have fake died, so now Anna's got to go break up a dam because we've tampered with nature and we need to let it go.
What it sounds like when you put it that way is adult artists putting millions of dollars into creating the kind of story that a little girl would create with her dolls in her bedroom, where it's all kind of meaningless and here's the next thing and I hope these two get married, but also who cares, and
and
we're all just friends and it's fun, really.
And also we need to have it be some, we need to inject, where else are we going to inject climate change politics except in the movie about the magical ice lady?
Right.
But even then, like, the world is so magical and mythical and follows its own fairy tale logic that even that stuff is pretty lost on, because all these magic rules are also in play and a part of, how the dam ruined everything.
Well, as an adult male with a wife who doesn't really care that much about these things, is there anything there for me? No kids?
No, absolutely not.
But was harmless enough
pretty.
and
it wasn't nearly as feministy as I expected it to be, which isn't to say it wasn't feministy, because of course it was.
Was there anything you felt like you really needed to process with your girls
afterward? The self-actualization stuff I felt was almost too complicated to try to talk through.
There'll be other avenues for...
Yeah. The only thing I think really worth talking about was Anna is depicted as the girl who always wanted to just grow up and get married and live happily ever after. And part of the journey for everybody is realizing that that's not such a big deal. I think there's a good conversation to be had about why fairy tales in that way and why it actually is a really big, awesome deal, and why Anna's childhood girly desire to grow up and get married and have kids and live happily ever after is great.
Right.
That's the main conversation I would try to have coming out of it, if anything.
Well, there you go. Jake watched some garbage. His kids are becoming corporate Disney zombies, and they'll all drown in the cesspool of their own sin and depravity soon enough, folks.
Wow. It's dark.
Meanwhile, I saw Knives Out by our favorite director, Ryan Johnson of And it was great. It was really a lot of fun. And Rian Johnson is good at making these stupid puzzle movies, and I don't like his movies. I don't like Brick. I didn't like Looper. I think that they're smug. I think that they're self-satisfied. I think that I don't know. He's just one of those guys who, he seems like a nice guy when you see him in interviews, but you just feel as you're watching his movies that this is a person
who's an angry man.
Well, angry and just very self-satisfied. I'm going to take down the status quo in a way that
only I can.
Only really intelligent people will understand how awesome it is. Star Wars, well, we're going to talk about this in our next episode, I guess, so I won't spend a lot of time here. But The Last Jedi is such a perfect, I'm just deconstructing it just to be a smart aleck. Yeah. And I don't care that you may have wanted like a real hero's journey that delivered Star Wars stuff. You're not smart enough. You need to be smart like me and realize that's dumb. John Boyega trying to sacrifice himself was stupid, and I'm going to subvert it. So that's Rian Johnson. He's really obnoxious, and I've like his early movie Brick. Did you ever see Brick?
I never saw Brick. Saw Looper.
Well, Looper's one of those movies that I really don't like. It just has that. Everybody kind of liked it for whatever reason, and I guess because it was kind of clever and interesting and stuff. But it wasn't that clever or that interesting. It was one of those movies that the iconoclast in me really hates because everyone's like, ooh, did you see the movie about time travel? It's kind of the same thing that I hate about Stranger Things. Did you see the thing that's just like a billion other things that actual cool nerds know about? But this is the first time that I am experiencing it, so I'm going to give it way too much praise. Kind of felt that way. Like Brick, there's nothing that sci-fi
I
has.
know the concept of Brick. I don't know what it's about.
Well, so Brick is... it's like a Raymond Chandler-esque noir kind of story, but it's set in a high school. And so it's just really self-congratulatory with all its noir references. And then Looper, sci-fi, I don't know. Looper's fine, I guess. I don't know. I don't really remember it that well.
I don't remember it that well. Is the twist that Bruce Willis is Joseph Gordon-Levitt?
No, I think we know that going in, but
okay.
The twist is that the little boy is actually the
special.
The special, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And they need to be nice to him so that he won't turn into an evil special, but will turn into a good special or something like that. So Rian Johnson likes to take these hero's journey kind of tropes and play with them, but he's like an idiot savant playing with fire or something. Like he doesn't ever treat with respect the things that he wants to deconstruct. There's a way to respectfully deconstruct and ask questions of something.
Yeah. For example of that, see Lego Movie and...
Right, which seems to have a real affection for what it's spoofing.
Lord and Miller, we've had this conversation
right.
Probably here just the last time you listened to us, but it's a conversation worth continuing. Lord and Miller and Rian Johnson are flip sides of the same coin.
Right.
The difference being that sense of affection and respect and
the bad example I always
happiness.
use is Shrek, because I think in retrospect those movies are so mean, and they're made by executives that either got pushed out of Disney or left Disney bitterly. And you can just tell, like, these aren't people that have affection for Disney tropes. These are people that hate Disney and want to mock it and tear it down.
Yeah, and when it hit right there for us at the right time in the right place after the Disney Renaissance.
We were all tired of Disney.
And we were all tired of Disney and ready to jump on the hate train, and so we all loved Shrek.
But as I grow older, Disney's still there for me. And
Shrek is not.
Shrek not so much, yeah.
No, Shrek it's bad.
Yeah.
I loved it. I thought it was a delight to have somebody be as cynical and subversive as I wanted to be, as iconoclastic.
But what's our Bob Dylan line? I was so much older than
I'm younger than that now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like actually I don't even want to see the Disney Renaissance fairy tales. I just want to see like the really old where he's just really just doing straight fairy tales. I love Disney Renaissance.
Sleeping Beauty, baby.
Sleeping Beauty. Yep.
Watched Pinocchio the other day.
That's intense.
It's intense.
That's maybe arguably the last time that Walt Disney just let his id go. I think he learned his lesson. Actually, like, oh, people might like these things if I make them a little bit more cute and a little less, because you can see like Cinderella and then all the 60s stuff, your Robin Hoods and your 100, it's pretty cutesy, but Walt Disney was really tapping into something with some of those early things. Like there's just iconic kind of fairy tale stuff in those.
I still don't know that I have it in me to watch Dumbo with kids.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen it since I was a kid. I'm interested to revisit it on Disney Plus at some point, but I don't know.
The joys of Disney Plus.
The joys of Disney Plus. Anyway, all that to say, I don't like Rian Johnson. To me, it doesn't seem like he necessarily hates that stuff. It just seems like he smugly thinks he's above the hero. You know, if the people that made Shrek were just bitter against Disney, Rian Johnson probably liked Star Wars, but he also thinks he's smarter than Star Wars and wants to prove it in a nasty kind of a way. And so he made a movie that's just like really well made with Last Jedi. And again, we'll talk about this, but mean and proud. And so Knives Out, same Rian Johnson, but he's not messing with my beloved genres. He's doing a genre that I pretty famously don't have any affection for, which is the drawing room Agatha Christie mystery kind of thing.
Yep.
And he's having a lot of fun with it. It's a lot of fun. And our good friends Brandon and Anna, Brandon of Bookening fame, saw it and they really liked it. And he just builds a really nice puzzle box. And he doesn't actually deconstruct the genre too much. It's like a good, like I was afraid it was going to, you know, the ways to deconstruct the genre are to do things like they all done it or nobody done it or
Agatha Christie's already done that too.
Right. Yeah. Agatha Christie, that's one of the good things actually about
Sherlock
doing
Holmes
this.
also did.
Right. Everybody, this genre has been so thoroughly gone over and spoofed, and that really the only thing
Arthur Conan Doyle did the nobody done it.
Right.
Agatha Christie did everybody done it.
Right. Robert Bloch, I think, was the first person who did the detective done it.
Which was the other.
And actually, Agatha Christie did her own. The detective Perot did it.
And then there's the victim did it.
Right.
Which is, and the victim did it out of spite or something like that, which is kind of what I've been vaguely expecting some version of with Knives Out.
Well, Knives Out does go some interesting places. It's not just the whodunit. It's what was done and to whom and how and who all was involved. So there's a certain point where the movie takes a turn in the first third where you suddenly are given a lot of information that you expected to be held until the end, and then you have to figure out how to interpret that information. So it is a clever little puzzle box that's playing with your expectations the way you'd expect Rian Johnson to. But what I said to my wife as we walked out of the movie was, I've never had so much fun with a movie that hates me. And that's pretty much what I thought about the movie.
That's the thing with Rian. That's the way you feel coming out of every one of his movies.
Yes.
I remember the first words out of my mouth walking out of The Last Jedi. That was the best Star Wars and the best and most Star Warsy Star Wars movie of all Star Wars movies. And I hate it because it hates me.
Yep. Yeah. Like there can be no peace between us. I felt exactly that way about this movie, only it wasn't going after Star Wars. What it does is it goes after these rich people, and it's very much a class parable. And if you're anything of a middle-class white person and you are aware of what the movie's doing, I mean, I think the people
then
that
you're aware that it hates you.
Yeah, the movie hates us. It hates everybody that voted for Trump. It hates, a wide swath of the American public and wants to mercilessly mock them and dehumanize them.
You knew that Chris Evans being in it was...
Yes. Chris Evans' part is...
absolutely signaling that from the beginning.
Every bit as smug and pretentious and annoying as you'd expect.
Man, I hate that guy.
Yeah, me too. Given that, though, I recommend, Jake, that you see this movie. I recommend that you should take your wife to it. It's a lot of fun. I think you'll enjoy it. You'll enjoy pitting your wits against Benoit Blanc, the Daniel Craig doing his stupid Rooster Cogburn accent. And you'll want them to make more Benoit Blanc movies because it's just... Rian Johnson's really good. It's really entertaining. It's a lot of fun. The humor lands. The mystery's compelling. The cinematography, there's just all these things that I always complain that movies don't have. There's like setups and payoffs and jokes
and that
is
go
one of the
through.
things
that Johnson,
he's really good.
He's really good at those things. He doesn't take those things. He doesn't take the craft of filmmaking for granted.
Right. And you still sometimes see good screenplays written for serious drama movies. But the thing that we've really lost the art of in modern Hollywood is writing a good screenplay for an entertainment. and
for a popular
film. And Rian Johnson still
for a
does
genre
that.
piece, for something pulpy, for
Right.
whatever.
So this movie really shouldn't be that special. This should be.
Is Rian Johnson the new Raymond Chandler?
No. At least, right? I don't know. It was refreshing to see a movie that was trying. It was refreshing to be in a full audience, for everybody to be laughing at humor that wasn't just vulgar or, Marvel characters being quippy. Yeah, exactly. It was refreshing to see a movie that didn't have a bunch of violence or hardcore action and yet still kept a whole theater full of people engaged. Like, it's fun. It's the holiday movie to beat. I mean, I really recommend that people see it. It's not overly gross or violent or sexual or anything like that. It's just really, 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 really fun. And I say that knowing that the movie hates me. So I still don't like Rian Johnson. I know that he does hate me, and I do not forgive him this. And I have some mixed feelings about the movie, but I cannot deny that we had a lot of fun with it. If you can't hold those two things in your mind, then I guess I don't recommend that you see the movie. Like, if you're just the kind of person that the politics of it are gonna make you so angry that you just can't get over it, then that's fine.
So Rian Johnson did with a crime whodunit what the Joker failed to do,
which was
actually deliver a
good class parable.
Good class parable, yeah. A good class anti-Trump, anti-Trumpian class parable.
Yeah, I think he did. And maybe it was mitigated for me by the fact that we do all like to see rich archetypal idiots go down. It is fun, and that's a trope that you don't have to be a liberal to love. Sanity at the Movies, produced by me, executive produced by Jake and me. Until next time.
Do the next right thing.